Hey, welcome back to Shane's Main Shop. Today we're going to do a video on the 12 volt, 6 volt Uplus battery charger. And full disclosure, they were nice enough to send this out to me to give it a try and let you guys know what I think of it. Also, I did a video of a battery these guys sent out to me for my snowblower, and that has worked great all winter long. So if you want to check that video out, I'll put a link for it down in the description. So let's just see, what do we have here? Right on top, we got a little bit of instructions, it looks like. Set that aside. Then we have the charger and some cables. Looks like you have an option if you want to hardwire it to a battery and leave it and just plug it in when you want to keep the battery warm. This is if you're just using it, you plug it in and just hook to a battery to charge it up. There's the plug that receives each of those options. And then, of course, you have a power cord. We're going to go ahead and test it out on this battery here. This is in my John Deere 400. I'm not going to use this option, although you certainly could. What you could do is hook this directly, unbolt this, and you can put that on there, and you can put the power on this side, and just leave this under the hood. And if you ever want to charge this thing, you could just plug it in here, or if you wanted to keep it warm, you can use this as well. I'm just going to go ahead and use the clamp-ons, because that works just as fine. Then I can just take this and use it wherever. And if I want to use this somewhere else, I certainly could. So we'll see. But I'm glad they include that, because if you have something you just want to keep warm through the winter and not worry about the clamps, you could use this and just keep that battery on like a trickle charge. I do like that they give you a pretty good length of wire here for the plug-in for the attachments. And they give you a pretty good length of wire for the power cord. I also noticed if you plan to use this on one particular vehicle or farm equipment or whatever it might be, they do provide a couple of spots here that you can actually screw this to the vehicle and mount it and just leave it in there. And when you want to keep the battery warm, you just have this in a spot where you can just plug it in. So that's pretty good. They actually provide that if you want to do that. So we're going to go ahead and get this plugged into the clamps here. Pretty simple to do. That plugged in, and then we'll go ahead and apply these on to the battery. And you want to make sure you have a good connection, of course, and that's with anything. So get ready to plug this in, but looking at the instructions, reading a little bit, it looks like that when you plug it in, it'll actually know what kind of battery to some extent, and it should pick the right one. I have a 12 volt battery. It is an AGM, and if not, you can use these buttons to change if you're dealing with a different type of battery. So let's just go ahead and plug this in and see what happens. Oh, everything lights up, and it's selected 12 volt and AGM, so that's good. So we'll leave those as it is. And then it looks like it's pretty much as easy as just putting start, pressing start, and you got a light for everything. And then it should show us our level and the process as it's charging, because we'll have to check back later. But let's go ahead and push start, because I know this battery's a little low, and we'll see what this thing can do. Okay, so it's flashing on 1. Okay, now it's flashing on 2, so it's not completely dead. So it looks like it's going to stay there for a bit and work its way up. Once it is fully charged, this unit will continue to monitor the battery and provide ongoing maintenance for it if it needs it. And the fully charged light will flash, I believe it said, slowly during that process. So it'll get to a full charge, and then it's going to monitor the battery. And you can leave this hooked up indefinitely. And that's why they provide the screws. If you want to put it in a vehicle, and every time you park the vehicle, if you're in cold climate or whatever, or it's going to be parked for a long time, you can just leave this thing plugged in. Or if you take a battery out of a piece of equipment that you don't use through the winter and you want to store it in your garage, but you don't want it to go cold, you can use this for that as well. So a lot of good reasons to have these. Just for the heck of it, while I had that plugged in, I wanted to see what that was putting out for volts. I'm hooking this up. I got my my multi-tester, and you can see that thing's putting out 14.4142 volts. So it's definitely, and that's about what an alternator puts out in a car. So it's definitely putting out the volts to charge this up. Probably can see it's fully charged. I'll bring the camera in a little bit closer there. All 4 lights lit up, saying it's completely charged. And what will happen now is it'll monitor the battery and provide continued maintenance as needed. This is a great tool if you want to charge a battery, or if you want to maintain a battery that you're not going to be using in a vehicle or a lawnmower or a tractor or something like that. Now, it only took about half an hour or so for this thing to get fully up there, because this battery was already in pretty good shape to begin with, but now I know it's fully charged and it's going to be maintained as long as I leave this on here. I'm going to continue to use and test this thing. So far, I'm pretty happy with it. Another great item you can use this on, or equipment, is like if you have an RV or a camper or something like that that has batteries that are not going to be used for the winter and you're not traveling or even in the summertime, but you want to maintain that battery. then this is a great tool for that as well. So, hey, I want to thank Uplus for sending this out to me and let me test it out for you and let you know what I think. And I'll do a follow-up video down the road, but so far, so good. If you want to do maintenance on your own vehicles, then I have a nice small ebook and checklist for things you can check on your car or truck to make sure it's in top running condition. I'll put a link for that down in the description. And I'll put a link for this as well in case you want to pick one of these up. Check them out. So far, so good. And also, I will put a link, like I said, to the battery they sent out to me last year that I used on the snowboard this past winter, which worked flawlessly. So if you want to check that video out as well, you certainly can do so. And in case you're wondering the model, this is the Uplus LC-2258 automatic smart charger for 6 and 12 volt batteries.